Okay, so just ahead of pre-orders, Rockstar gave us a whole bunch of screenshots, and I haven't had a chance to go through them because I've been on a small vacation. Perfect timing, Rockstar. Thank you. Starting off, we get a nice new picture of Jason's safe house, and it says, "Switch gears and soak up the sun in an army fatigue-tinged Dinka Enduro motorcycle or Crest kayak." Now, both of these are seen at the base of the staircase, and we also see different designs for Jason's personal vehicle that has undergone some changes since the last trailer. So of course this confirms the Dinka Enduro is returning, and we will be able to control kayaks and go around the map with them. Off to the right in this screenshot, we can also see that Jason's house does have a small boat launch, so perhaps we can have other personal boats here. Getting a closer look at the kayak, this is a Crest kayak, and it's based on the real-life counterpart Crescent kayaks, which they look the same as many other kayaks, so it's just a name reference. But if we look farther in the background, we'll find the Key Lento Cafe, which is likely located near Jason's safe house, because we know that he's living in the Keys in the Key Lento area, so we're probably not far from his house. There's other boats seen in the background, but I'm unsure exactly what they are since I'm not a boat expert. Taking a closer look at the new Dinka Enduro, there are some minor changes that have been made to this model. Most importantly, it has some slightly beefier tires, more detail with wear on the seat, and depending on the modifications you add, different tail lighting and badging available. If you look closely at the Enduro, you can actually see that they do have a kickstand that's working to keep the bike up, which is new for the GTA franchise. Now, of course, we have some changes to his personal vehicle, which is the Ganado, and we can see it in this picture with a retro build, which will be available for anyone who orders the Ultimate Edition. And Rockstar states, "Inject some muscle and classic stylings into Jason's well-worn Vapid Ganado, low-riding pickup with exclusive mods." Now, originally we believed this to be called the Vapid Credo, but this confirms its new name, still being based on the Ford Ranchero. But if we look at older pictures from the earlier trailers, it looks a lot more like it says Credo on that vehicle, but maybe we had it wrong. It is the Ganado. Another vehicle we get a good look at is the 95 Grotti Cheetah, which is likely just a new name for the Cheetah Classic. So maybe Rockstar is moving away from the classic naming convention and moving into actual years. Now, this is still based on the Ferrari Testarossa, and it has new designs and liveries with some more detailed modeling. We get some more pictures of this vehicle, including more looks at its new Grotti logo, which is more accurate to Ferrari's real-life logos. Of course, this is what the logo looked like in GTA 5, and it's going to be much more accurate in GTA 6. This picture shows the 95 Cheetah at the Pegassi Residences Tower. Now, I'm not entirely sure what this is based on, but there's probably a real-life counterpart that I haven't put together yet. And of course, we get a nice look at the interior of this car, which is much more detailed than we have in GTA 5, with more decipherable buttons and keys that we can actually make out. The next vehicle I want to look at is the new Declasse R. The badging on the front says R, but the rims actually have the Declasse logo. But for now I'm calling this the Declasse R because we don't have an official name for it. This is likely based on the Kellison J4, which is a pretty unique vehicle. We also see it in this screenshot, which has Jason and Lucia standing in front of the vehicle, and it's likely the DS Sport something. You can only make out part of that badge on the side. If you look in the background, it's also interesting to note that there's a Sahara office building behind Jason, which is the in-game equivalent of Amazon. Now, of course, we also have a video of this as soon as you open the GTA 6 website. Now, this does not have good quality. It was meant to just be a GIF. So I think the highest quality we get it is 1330p. So it's just horrible to look at. We also get a look at another new car, which is called the Sirius. We don't exactly know what the manufacturer in game is, but it's based on the 1969 Mercury Cougar, and it was first seen parked behind the Hammer Lady in Trailer 1. Now, the vehicle that many people are most excited for is the 67 Vapid Dominator Buggy, a Mud Club monster offering impressive off-road handling for the backwoods of Mount Galaga and beyond. Conveniently, you're able to store it at Paradise Garage in Watson Bay, which features a weapon locker, plus a secure place to deposit stolen goods to be fenced. Now, we're definitely going to have some crazy off-roading vehicles and adventures in GTA 6, and this just confirms it. This appears to be based off of a similar model of the Ellie or GTT, but it does have a new name, and could just be an entirely new model that separates itself from those because it's an off-road variant. We also see a Wyman's World livery on this vehicle, so perhaps it's part of the classic car collection that we'll talk about in a moment. Also, I missed this initially. If you look closely at the windshield wipers on this image, you'll actually notice that they are functional, with mud actually smearing with the windshield wipers while they're in motion. Here we see another angle of that same buggy, which appears to have a V8 engine and has some crazy treads on these mud tires, pointing towards the potential for more tire types in the game. This car is expected to be used at the Thrillbilly Mud Club, which we saw in Trailer 1. And of course we have a few other angles from it as well, which don't give us too many more details or information, but look at the detail on the mud in the windshield, and the detail on the interior just like we saw on the 95 Grotti Cheetah. you can also still see the mud on the windshield, so maybe car washers will actually be important for once. Another off-road vehicle we get to look at is the Reatta Off-Road, which appears to be a fixed and not as bulky model, and might be the Reatta Classic, which was first mentioned in the 2022 leaks, which would just be based on an older Ford Bronco instead of the one we have in GTA 5. Needless to say, I know a lot of people don't like the model we have in GTA 5, so hopefully this satisfies them. As I mentioned, I am on a small vacation, and these pictures went live as I was headed to the airport to board a flight, but I managed to download them and work on the entire flight just to try and find some information, and now I'm in a hotel room putting together this video. So if my mic sounds off or things just feel rushed, it's been a very weird day. Now, as I mentioned before, we have Willys Classic Car Collection, which says, track down a variety of abandoned classic and work-in-progress project cars and revitalize them to their former glory in this special commission from eccentric collector and local fixer, Wyman. Over to the left, we can see the Shyster Deviant, which is covered in a patriotic livery. There's also a topless rim hat, which are likely going to be in the game now, so that's a cool new clothing item, I suppose. We can also see a tattoo of what looks like the Vapid Ellie or GTT, or a pre-converted 67 Dominator. The shirt and logo for Willys has a Chino custom on it, and on the right we have a truck that appears to be one we've seen in a previous trailer, but I can't exactly make out what it is, so if you know, let me know in the comments. And of course, in front of that, we see what I believe is a red Mamba GT. So yes, the Mamba is returning, but in the coupe form, which I think looks slightly better. Here we get a closer look at the Mamba GT, and I hope it's better handling and damage-wise to the regular Mamba, but that's not hard to do. Here we get another look at the Deviant model, which is very similar to the one we have in GTA 5 with new liveries and an updated model for graphics. Another off-roader we get a look at is the Canis Camacho, which will be returning with some nice cool green liveries at One-Eyed Willys. Here we can see the base Camacho in One-Eyed Willys' garage, with one of many plate designs we see in the game, which has the dolphin and the state of Gloriana, not Leonida, but we've seen this before in previous trailers. The photo on the back wall has a Hermes and a Hustler, as well as two other unidentifiable cars. They're just not quite detailed enough to make out what they are, but perhaps you have a keener eye than I do. Also, in the back left, the mirror shows a good reflection of the vehicle, so hopefully we have some good ray tracing despite it being on consoles. And of course, we get a full view of the Canis Camacho after it's been converted at Willys. We also get a look at Ride Out Customs, likely GTA 6's versions of Benny's Custom Motorworks, with the logo seen on the left wall. On the website, Rockstar says, transform vanilla vehicles into magnificent works of art with detailed interiors, exquisite rims, and donk stylings, which is the case for many of these businesses we see in these screenshots. Now, a lot of people are concerned that this means you won't be able to customize your cars or off-roadify them or hairstyles or tattoos at all. That's clearly not the case. There's going to be other options in the game to get that work done. There will just be unique options at these locations for those who have the Ultimate Edition. But you also do have 6 months to save up the extra $20 to just get the Ultimate Edition. Now in the center of this frame, we see a Manana that's starting to get work done, and the bumper is slightly hanging off, likely because it's getting removed. On the lift to the left is possibly a Nebula Turbo, but the model looks a little different than what we have, so I might be wrong. And to the right, we have a Karin Astrobe GZ, and there's no new mods or designs seen here. Our next screenshot shows the Manana Donk, which is something I'm very excited for because I think we needed more donks in GTA 5. This is likely the exact same one that was being worked on in the previous screenshot, just like we saw with the Camacho, but this time at Ride Out Customs. This also proves that there are new donk rims available, and the livery appears to have a red and green stripe down its hood, offset to the driver's side. And here's a look at that same donk from another angle with interior upgrades. Now, vehicles modified by the shop often have a hashtag Rideout Custom sticker plastered somewhere on the vehicle, which was also seen on the PMP 700 in both trailers and the pickup truck in trailer 1. Heading to the water, we have the Shih Tzu Squallow returning with a very detailed and updated design with visible speakers in the overhead bar. Regarding this vehicle, Rockstar says, perfect for casting in Gambit Bay and reeling in catches of all sorts. This gradient pink and blue Squallow, docked at Washington Beach, is made open ocean ready with an explosives-laden weapons crate. There's a lot to break down with what they've said here. Obviously, I believe fishing will be an activity we'll be able to take part in, and with the explosives, maybe there will be more to do with this boat regarding running cargo. We can also see in this screenshot that dolphins are interacting with Lucia, at least a little bit. It might just be set up for the photo, but it could point to more in-depth animal behavior. We can also see scuba gear on the back of the stern deck with a more detailed model on the tanks. Also, Jason is holding E-Cola bottles that are ready to drink, that aren't just cans like we drink in GTA 5, so maybe we'll have more options for that. And you'll actually make out some dirt and messiness on the very top of the boat, so again, it'll be nice to see how things get dirty in this game. Our next screenshot shows the Squallow from another angle, and then we see it again with Vice City in the background, and as we saw before, it has new designs and a more detailed model. The helicopter in the background appears to be a Valido, and we can see a flatbed on the road, but it's hard to tell exactly what model this is due to the low detail models since it's far away. The scuba